Hello and welcome to the Telegraph Studios and Business Reporter's Human Capital campaign hosted by the Telegraph Online. I'm Alistair Green and today I'm talking to Rachel Clough and Geoff Pearce from NGA Human Resources about why it's so important for organisations not to ignore the gender pay gap. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now there's new legislation coming in about gender pay. What's it all about?
So companies that are 250 employees or more will need to submit statistics annually to say what their gender pay gap is. And in the last 40 years, the gap still exists at nearly 20%, which is quite a shocking statistic.
So why is it important to disclose how much men and women are paid within your organisation?
It's important as far as a business is concerned that they're actually encouraged to measure that gap. And there are a number of measures that businesses are going to have to produce. They're going to have to look at the difference in average pay between men and women. They're going to have to look at the place of men and women within their business as well. And I think one of the key changes is they're also going to have to look at bonus payments between men and women. There may well be issues in terms of gender pay, and unless you've actually taken this action and produced those statistics, then you're unable to start addressing some of those concerns that may arise. So this is an important first step to be able to address the issues and the problems caused by gender pay.
Okay, so let's say I'm an organisation, at the moment I'm paying men more than women. I then disclose that. What happens next?
So it's important that there's a number of sort of very practical steps that will happen. As Rachel was saying, the information, the gap will have to be published on websites. That then makes your gender pay gap in your business comparable with your competitors. It also makes it visible. So we feel that it's actually important that business goes a step further and doesn't just produce those statistics, but actually starts to develop their understanding. So business needs, in producing its statistics, to start looking at what the causes may be within their organisation. And those causes can be quite complex. It may come down to the approach to pay. It may be because of men and women's relative position within the organisation itself. So once you've published, or ideally before you've published, you really need to start understanding the cause of the gender pay difference within your business.
Now, looking at companies, they might say, OK, I need to have balance in my organisation. But what about the business sense? What's in it for them on a business level for this?
So organisations have quite a wealth of talent already available out there, but having these statistics that future employees are able to go on the website and actually see what their gender pay gap is does have an effect on the applicants that will come for jobs in your organisation. The wider and the more that people apply, the wider choices you've got as an organisation, and it's just really crucial that you have that wide choice of talent. It's really good for that organisation to be able to choose, and we are in an employee's workforce right now. The fact they have a lot of choices to make, and these statistics are going to be quite key for them to look at to make some of those choices.
And what's NGA's role in all of this?
So NGA has a dedicated reward team. So we work with a lot of companies in the UK where if they have their statistics, and certainly as we're moving towards the legislation, we would very much recommend a dry run, a rehearsal to go through, and we can support from the department that Geoff runs, we can support that process and bring our expertise to that. Geoff, you can probably explain a bit more about what your team does.
We've been working with a number of organisations over the last 10 years, looking at issues around gender pay and equal pay. So looking not just at gender, but looking at other characteristics in terms of the workforce. I think what many businesses have found is it helps to have an external independent view to initially identify where there are pay differences, but then to really get behind that data and understand what's causing it. And the causes, as we said before, can be very varied, but actually having that understanding to go in and try and see what's leading to that gap. And then importantly, being able to develop responses. And I think one of the most important things for business is that the requirement to publish the first data doesn't come in until 2018. It will be based on data from next April. And many businesses have already published this information. They've done so for a reason, because they see the positive benefit. but they've also done so outside of the glare of publicity. I think businesses need to take the opportunity prior to the legislation coming into effect in 2018 to actually go through, complete a full gender pay review, clearly identify where there are issues and use the opportunity to take steps to try and address that. So when they're required to publish the data in 2018, they have as positive an outcome as possible, rather than go into it cold.
Well, it certainly seems when it comes to gender pay, there's going to be a lot more transparency in the future. Geoff Pearce, Rachel Clough from NGA Human Resources, thank you very much.
Thank you.